Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, all our followers around the globe. I love you. I greet you in peace and love and blessings. I thought of all of you today and those that I am in touch with as I do my workouts, which are long, long walks with a 60-pound weighted vest and other weights. And I do a lot of meditative thinking and prayers. And I just want you all to know that I love you very much. I appreciate your contacting and reaching out to me via Facebook and the church website and email and phone and letting me know how we can help you by prayers and for those that have me and our pastors and our bishops meeting you and visiting you at churches, at hospitals and weddings and events in your life, baptisms and all kinds of great things, christenings. So, anyways, let's get right to the message today. Real change. How do you get it? What is real change and how do you get it? I'm going to read real quick a little small sentence from the Harvard Business Review, one of the part of the Harvard School and so forth back east. And it says, helping people overcome their limitations to become more successful at work is at the very heart of effective management. If you're a leader, it is our job to help people overcome their limitations so that we can help them become successful, not just in their job, which is what this entire article is talking about, but for us to help them overcome all kinds of issues. One of my best friends in the world is decided to make a change in his life. And he knows that and seen the pictures of how I used to be 450 pounds. And so he's also seen the men that I have had have come to me who are overweight and the women. And I've designed for them programs, workout regimens, the diet, all the things they need to do. Because as an expert in nutrition, that's how I actually lost the weight. I was 450 pounds. I had strokes, heart attacks, had a lot of time on my hands. So I went back to school and started getting a degree in nutrition. And I understood the science then of food and all the ways to use food to help you lose weight and change your chemistry, your physiology, your psychology, and using my degrees and my training and my education, and then applying the years of fitness and my years of fighting. I know y'all like, yeah, how's that help? But you had to train to be a fighter. We had to train hard, 6-8 hour days in a gym, running in the snow with logs on our back, brutal things, shoveling driveways with a huge shovel, 3 feet of snow, not using a plow was one of the greatest experiences I ever had. Multiple ways that I had to learn, running in sand, which is not easy to do. And I'm not talking where the water is, where it's nice and hard, but the sand up on the area where it's all fluffy and dry. And it's like, oh my gosh, go run a mile in that. It's like running 10 miles. All kinds of other little things, little tricks, little tidbits. And I saw this person who I love as a brother, and I was concerned. And so I finally had a talk, and this person came to that point where they said, it's time to make that change. And so how do you get that real change? That's the question. This person had a conversation with someone who had already been to that place, that huge weight, and all the things that you guys know about me, my health, my heart attacks, my strokes, all the ailments, all the tumors, the cancers, all the things can actually, even though I have bad genes in that ticker from my dad and all the things from diabetes passed down through the family, that's all true genetics, but it wouldn't have hit me in my 30s had I been in shape, had I ate healthy instead of fast food, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Taco Bell, and pizzas and all that junk. So in talking to this friend, I was able to lay out how we do it. And one of the things you guys will hear me say a lot in the messages is if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You need to write that down. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't measure your finances, you'll never manage your finances. If you don't know how much exactly comes in, where your money goes, and you can't figure out the percentages and break it down, you'll never be able to save money. You have to be able to measure everything. Your food. If you can't measure your food, what does that mean? Well, I took my friend to the store and I said, "So what do you normally eat?" And we walked through and we grabbed every single thing and looked at it and read how many carbs, which is sugars. And by the time we were done, he's like, "Oh my God, I eat nothing but sugars. I'm just one big sugar cake." Absolutely. Because no one ever measures it. We don't look on the back. I mean, we might look at the calories, maybe. And that's a maybe. We just shove that stuff in. Eat a pizza. Go look at Papa Murphy's. I love Papa Murphy's. I'm not dogging Papa Murphy's. Go look at their pizza. Go get the whatever they call it, the cowboy or whatever, and see how much sodium and carbs are in one slice. And you wonder why people are dying. So food, you got to measure it, understand it, and then you can manage it. And the funny thing is, I gave him and helped him build the whole program for his dietary needs. And guess what? He's not starving. He's eating wonderful, and he's losing weight, and he's looking amazing. And the pasty color is coming back. He's getting real change. Now, what did it take? It took a moment for a friend to have a conversation and explain, I've been here and you're here and you're about to go here. And it all falls apart from there. You have those heart attacks, you get stents in you, and you got to deal with all the mess that I have to deal with. And he's seen me go through it all. He's seen me on the door of death. He's been in the hospital after heart surgery when I woke up with my wife standing by my side. And he doesn't want that. So he had that aha moment. But let's talk about another way of real change to get different results. I climb mountains. Everyone knows that. I'm going next week to climb a mountain. It's one of my favorite mountains. It's Mount Adams in Washington. It's 12,280 feet to the summit. It is it's actually the largest mountain volcano mass-wise in the 48 states. It is not the tallest. In the state of Washington, it's the second tallest below Rainier. But in the entire 48 states, mass-wise, it's a huge mountain. And it's one of my favorites, very special to me, because my brother, I found out, died when I was on that mountain on my first trip. I had my first trip there, actually. And then I went up there between two heart surgeries by myself with nobody and summited to the first, what they call base camp up at lunch counter, and buried his most valuable possessions up there. So it's a very spiritual place for me, and I love the mountain. But every time I've gone, I have failed to summit. Now, the first time you could say, well, that one was easy. You had a malfunction in your boot. It was winter and your boot froze and your foot froze. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I won't go climb a mountain with a frozen boot. You're going to lose your toes, okay? I value my toes. So I had to make the right decision to go back down. So then I went again. And the second time I went with the time to take my brother up there. Again, I was not planning to summit, but when I got there, I was like, I could do this the next day. So I was going to try it, and I started to. But my body was just zapped. And I know most of you are saying, yeah, but you just had 2 heart surgeries, and you got another one in another 2 weeks. Really, man? You're going to do that in between those heart surgeries? Yeah. I'm that warrior. I'm that beast. That's why that tattoo right here. I'm the beast. There's a reason they call me the Irish Beast. And so I went again last year, and I had a team of 2 more with me. I took a disabled gentleman up there who is a spiritual son of mine. Hello, Jacito, and another young man who is family, who was one of my family members, and now is my executive assistant. And we all went up to this mountain, and I couldn't do it. I got up there, but the second day I couldn't climb the face. This is huge vertical. I mean, it's just, it's not a technical climb, but it's that wall's like 1,700 feet just straight up. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out why is it I can't do it. So I've been analyzing that over the time that it's been since then. And I figured it out. See, I was doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And I know you're like, no way, JB, you're too much of an expert in this field to make that rookie mistake. We all do. See, sometimes blinders are good. Like if you're dead focused on losing weight, blinders are great. I don't see fast food. I don't see restaurants. I see healthy food. I see lots of exercise, and you can just stay at that blinders. That's good. But the other thing that can be bad is when you have blinders, sometimes you're digging so deep in the trench that you get so down in there, the walls are way up here and you look around and you can't see anything. You don't even realize that you were meaning to go this direction, but now you're going that way. Now, if you're lucky and you do like I've trained all of the people in our organization, you need a mentor who can reach in the rut and pick you up and go, hey, dude, knucklehead, look out. And you're like, hey, why am I headed south? I'm supposed to be headed northeast. Yeah, that's why I picked you up out of the trench to look. You've been digging too low and you've had the blinders on. So I really analyzed it and I realized, oh my gosh, it's so simple. I am such a busy person. I run all these companies in the church and the men's homes, and I'm working with foundations to get millions of dollars to try to buy a property and all these things that we do, which are all great. But on that climb particularly, every time I drive down, get to the trailhead where you park, and it's usually about 9 or 10, and we leave at 1 in the morning. So I get like 1 hour, and not even of a real sleep. I get like 1 hour of a nap. And then we're walking up a mountain that's just going for 9 hours. My body has no sleep. So really, I haven't slept in 2 days. So the body is drained. It is out of it. It's one of the worst things you can do. It's a rookie mistake. So if I went this next week when I go and I did the same thing, I'd get the same result. We'll see if I can summit or not. This is the first big mountain that I've done since my heart surgeries, and with my foot condition and all that's going on with all my body issues. So I have dead focus to get to that summit, but I'm doing it different. See, I'm going down and I'm going to be at that trailhead at like 2, and I'm going to hang out and relax and kick back and enjoy the atmosphere with my 2 friends. And then I'm going to go to sleep at like 4, 5 in the afternoon so that I get a solid 8 hours sleep. And then when I go to summit, I've had my body rested. Then we're going to go up to that first base camp up there at Lunch County. We're going to set up camp and we're going to rest and relax and watch that sunset into the Pacific Ocean from 9,400 feet up, the beautiful snowy glaciers that we'll be sitting on. Then on Saturday, that's on Friday, on Saturday, I'm not going to summit. Nope. What I'm going to do is take my team and lead them up that big steep slope and go almost all the way up and then come back down. It's called acclimatizing. You climb high and then you go and sleep low. And what it does by climbing high with less oxygen, it actually creates more of these blood cells in your blood system, the red blood cells, and it expands it so that you can actually get more oxygen. So you go back down and rest at a lower level. So the next time you go up, it's easier. So then we're going to rest on Saturday. And then on Sunday at 1 in the morning, we're going to hit that trail after another 8 hours of sleep. And we'll summit, I believe, I hope. My point to you is this. If you do the same thing over and over again, and you're wondering why you just keep getting the same results, it's because you can't do the same thing over and over again. I've had 2 marriages. My first one, which was almost 20 years, and my current one. And I realized in the first part of our marriage, it was like most things, it's a honeymoon, right? And then we both moved, after we got married, we moved in together and we're like, wait a second, you're different. So like, you're not the same woman I married. She's like, you're not the same man I married. Yeah, we were. What was the difference? We weren't living together. We were dating, but we weren't living together. And so we had these spats we'd get into. And I would do the same thing. And she would do the same thing. And then our mentors in marriage were like, hey, knuckleheads, you're doing the same thing. And each time you get the same result. But we weren't registering it because we had blinders on. Finally, it took one of our mentors whom we love so much, and they lifted us up and said, look, knucklehead, you guys are headed south in your marriage. You got to go north. And we're like, oh my God, how did we do this? That's rookie mistakes. Let me tell you something. Michael Jordan, I don't care who you are, made rookie mistakes until the day he walked off the court. One of my dear friends, Jerry Lucas, one of the greatest NBA Hall of Famers, in the Hall of Fame, not once, but twice. And the second time was in the top 50 of greatest players ever. I was trained by him as a young man and taught me many lessons. And one of the things he taught me was even the greats make mistakes. They usually just make them less than the rest of us because they have mentors who have the ability to lift them up, who can say, knucklehead, look what you're doing. Oh, wow. So don't think because, oh, I'm a multimillionaire, I don't make rookie mistakes. Do you know how many of my friends are billionaires and multimillionaires? I got a lot of them. And you know what? They lose millions too. Just like people who are poor or blue collars, people who just make 100 grand a year or 30,000, they make the same percentage of mistakes, sometimes a little less. That's the goal, right? It's to make less and less, but they still make them. So they still do it, even the most successful. It's just as you get more successful, the key is to make that percentage less. Like when you climb a mountain, you fine tune yourself and your skills so that your mistakes are micro mistakes. They're not going to kill you. They might make you a little tired and you might have to rest a little more, but you're like, yeah, I didn't make the mistake where I fell off a glacier like I did one time and fell into a crevasse, which by the way, was really exciting. I know you're like, you're crazy. It was fun, but I'll never do it again because it was terrifying too. I learned from that mistake. I will never do what I did to fall in a crevasse again. Okay. Because it'll kill you. You can die. Make no mistake. So when we look at spirituality, our life, it's the same thing. I deal with men that come out of prison and they wonder why a year later they're still poor and they're living in a 1-bedroom studio and they got no life and they're just, and I look at them and I say, hey, knucklehead, when you got out, I told you, stop chasing the woman. Stop chasing that relationship. Stop chasing the man. Stop chasing all of that. Fix you. Stay focused, dead focused on improving you. Get you squared away. Well, I got other people that tell me I don't need to be squared away. I'm fine. I'm great. That's usually the first sign, the denial. I'm not great. I need to lose still more weight. I'm not great. I need to still work on finances. I'm not great. I'm Irish. I still have a temper. I'm not great. I'm not the best husband. I'm better every day, but I'm not great. You see, you have to have that mindset that you can still do better. There's a science that did a study, actually, MIT was involved in it. And the study was looking at muscles, okay? So take your bicep, and a lot of you go, my dad, or, you know, if you're like me, 48, I can look at my bicep and be honest with you. When I was fighting in those days and I was hitting the gym, yeah, I mean, I had those things popping out at, I think it was 21 inches or 22 inches. It was some big biceps. But after that, I finally got in the business world real full time in the ministry world. They've stayed the same. That's what I thought. But the study came back that actually today, this muscle hasn't looked any different than yesterday. But today, this muscle is either weaker or stronger than yesterday. Scientifically proven. A muscle cannot stay the same. It either gets stronger or weaker. Now, the question is, what are you doing today to make sure tomorrow that your muscle is stronger? And that's the key to your success in real change. You have to make efforts. I have a friend who's in a relationship and she always wonders why she's struggling. And I ask her, well, did you make that change? Well, I'm not making that change. He's a jerk. And I'm like, well, you're going to get the same result then. Either you got to step up and make the change because apparently he's not. So it's up to you then. Stop telling me why everything doesn't work because of other people. See, 10% of life is what happens to you. I've said this almost every week that you know me, anyone that's known me since I was 6 years old working with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. 10% of life is what happens to you. I just got AIDS from a blood transfusion. That's just 10% of life. 90% of it's what you do with it. I got cancer and it was from the chemicals at the plant I work. So what? That's 10% of life. 90% of it's what you do with it. But I was thrown out of my house and it wasn't my fault. Oh my gosh. So what? That's 10% of life. What are you going to do with it? That's the 90%. The loser, and I know people are like, you shouldn't call people losers. No, there is losers and there are winners. That whole giving a trophy to everybody saying we're all winners. That's why you guys have the problems you have in society right now. I remember the day that my kid went to that field and he lost a game. It was a soccer game and he lost. Or no, I'm sorry, it was a football game and he lost. And he gave him a trophy. And he walks back across the field and he sees me and he's holding the trophy and he walks up and he goes, they gave me a trophy. And I'm like, okay, for what? He goes, I asked him. And he said, because I participated, everyone's a winner. And he says, Dad, that doesn't feel right. I lost the game. We were the losing team. I'm not a loser, Dad, but I was the loser for the game. And I said, what do you think you should do? I didn't tell him anything, but he knows me and he's heard me speak for years. And he says, I don't deserve a trophy. I'm going to go over to the team who won and I'm going to give it to the coach and say, hey, this is for your team. You guys did awesome. So that little kid marches across the field. He takes that trophy and he walks up to the coach and says, hey, coach, here's the trophy. You guys kicked our butt. Really want to say great job. Your offense was awesome. He was the actual leader of the defense. He was the defense captain. Coach says, no, son. Everyone gets a trophy. You're all winners. He goes, I don't know what kind of book you've been reading or what kind of junk you've been drinking, but you need to get that out of your vocabulary. There was a score. You won. We lost. You're the winners of the game. We're the losers of the game. It doesn't mean I'm a loser because guess what I'm going to do? I'm going home now. And tonight I'm going to do a double workout and I'm going to work out twice as hard every day this week. And next week when I hit the field, because they were actually playing the same team back to back, he says, as the captain of defense, if I can't get my guys to do it, I will stop every one of your players. Nobody will get past me next week. He says, my name is Maximus Brown, and you look for me on the iron grid, baby. And he walked off. He goes back over, and I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. You got it. You understand. Now, that's a winner. The loser takes the trophy, goes, yay, I'm a winner. You didn't do anything to win. You lost. They beat you. They worked harder. They worked smarter. And we've created a society of people that live with that mindset. And that's why you got all these people going, I just deserve a paycheck even if I don't want to do anything. I should just get money. You deserve nothing, okay? You don't. You deserve nothing. You are a human and you are grateful and should be grateful that you're just alive. Everything else is what you make out of it. And that little boy learned that lesson by not being told by that, by seeing a man live that. So as I close this message, I want you to think of that. Real change comes when you actually do something different to get a better result. Just because you're 70 years old doesn't mean you're wise. Do you know how many 70 and 80-year-olds that I actually counsel who are broke, who have no money, who have no ownership of a home, who have no future? They pray and hope that Social Security doesn't go bankrupt because if so, they're going to be out on the street. So being old doesn't make you wise. Being rich doesn't make you wise. Do you know how many rich people I know that when their job stops, that they're broke and they're back living with family and friends? I know a lot. Being educated. Education's important. Do you know how many people I know that are mega millionaires, including a couple billionaires, too, to be exact, who have no degrees? Some of the smartest people in the world have no degrees. Education doesn't make you actually smart. It makes you book smart. Yeah, you get all the knowledge in a book. I've got a library. If you were to come at the office here at the studio and see what we got, I got a library that's got over, I think, 1,000 books just sitting right here. Some of the greatest books on earth are here. Greatest knowledge ever. You could have them all memorized. And I know people that actually have some of these books memorized. Yet they can't even apply it because they have no street knowledge. They have no application. They don't understand how to make real change. So that's what I need you to focus on this week, how to get that real change. So the first thing you need to do is address what in your life needs real change. Is it your relationship? Stop blaming the other person in your relationship. Start looking at you and putting that finger right at you. Say, hey, Jonathan, what can you do to be a better husband this week? Because that's what I'm doing. Hey, Jonathan, what can you eat different this week to lose a little more weight? You don't need to lose weight, You don't need to lose weight to be skinny. You need to lose weight to be healthy and to live longer. What is it financially that you can do? One of the men at my church and a spiritual son of mine, he is invested in more portfolios. He's actually puts approximately about 80% of his income into investments. This kid will be a multimillionaire. At the rate he's going, he'll probably be a multimillionaire by the age of about 45. He's only got about 15 years left, and he's going to be a multimillionaire. Why? Because I set him up on a path, and he is dead set on it, and nothing takes him away because he's seen the promised land. He's seen the milk and honey overflowing, and he says, yes, I want that. So I don't need to go buy some fancy car. Just get me a jalopy that gets me from point A to point B. I want to keep shoving my money into my investments. See, real change takes effort. That's the problem. most people aren't willing to take the effort to do what it takes. I love you guys. God loves you. Thanks for letting me go about 5 minutes longer than normal. And as you go out this week, live positive, but let's live positive in making real change in our life. God bless. We'll see you guys. Contact us if you have any prayers or needs.